Joining us right now is pollster and political strategist Frank Luntz. Before we get into it, just your initial reactions as you were watching the president.
Yeah, all around me, they thought this is that this is fantastic. He's low key. He's not mentioning the president. He's addressing the issues they want to hear about. He spoke about his own situation on Saturday. And the moment that he got outside the barriers, when the speech was over, I got exactly the opposite reaction from people. I believe that Paul Simon Garfunkel got it right in The Boxer. A man hears what he wants to hear and disregards the rest. It really is a tale of two speeches.
What do you mean by that?
The people who don't like Donald Trump thought he went on way, way, way too long. The people who like Donald Trump thought that he was subdued, respectful, and humble. I sent out a tweet using that word humility because it's rare, if never, people have ever used that word to describe him. And I got back so much pressure, so much blowback. I'm a pollster, and my job is to measure public opinion. And I have not seen a speech in a long time where half of the people I spoke to thought it was Trump at his best, and half of them thought that it was disorganized, meandering, and basically Trump out of control. So I don't know what to tell you this morning.
Right? Yeah, it's a Rorschach test, Frank.
And the problem is, this is a convention speech. It's supposed to be a little bit longer. He should have started earlier. He could have said the same thing in 60 minutes rather than.
Right.
He didn't have to do that. And he could have appealed to people even more. But the fact is, Trump is leading now. And he's leading in the swing states. And the last week has been very good for his campaign, even if it's been bad for his health. And the last month, Trump has found his sea legs and Joe Biden has come apart.
Right.
So we end up the end of the convention with the Republicans clearly in the lead.
Clearly. But do you look at this speech as a needle mover? I mean, I think going back to this Rorschach test that you're talking about, obviously people in the room, and by the way, people at home who I think there were a lot of people very impressed by what the president was saying and by a lot of the things coming out of the convention. And yet I know there are people on the other side of this.
No, I was actually dreading this interview because I thought there was going to be conflict with your co-host. No, this does not move the needle. And I want to be clear about that. I do not expect Donald Trump to get a bounce from this speech. What I do expect is that the intensity of his supporters will absolutely turn them into voters in November, and that's important. And conversely, on the Democratic side, whoever's the nominee, whatever the chaos comes out over the next month, there is no intensity at all. So whatever numbers you see, you can expect Trump to do 1% to 2% better because of the turnout ratio among Republicans will be that much higher among Democrats. But, Andrew, there is not a single swing voter left. We've all made up our minds. The question is, do we get out and vote?
Well, let me ask you about that then. So there's a big question as to what President Biden's going to do, whether he's going to step aside, if he is going to step aside, if he steps aside this weekend, and then what happens next. Walk me through the other names that are out there, and if there's anybody that you think on the Democratic side could give the president and the Republicans a run for their money.
And I absolutely can identify three people who could do it. Cory Booker, the senator from New Jersey, former mayor of Newark, brought a city that was on its knees back up to its feet, an amazing speaker, brings crowds, gets standing ovations wherever he goes. Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, who has already handled a nationwide crisis, the bridge, the striking of the bridge, and understands what it is to get things done. And then Mitch Landrieu, the former mayor of New Orleans, when the city was going through the hell that it went through, once again brought the city to its feet. All three of them would give Trump a tremendous run for their money because all three of them are great politicians, have a great retail message.
Frank,
and the Republicans should be very careful. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, let's just throw out a couple other names. Let's say that it's Kamala Harris. And let's say you were to pair her with a McCraven, somebody like that. How does that stack up?
You would. It's going to cause Her numbers are better today than they were 6 months ago. And right now, Joe would be yelling at me. So she has improved. But they're going to ask, what has she done as vice president? In fact, I can see the Trump commercial already. Can you name anything that the vice president has achieved in the 4 years that she served? And just have a blank
Frank,
ad for the next 60
I've already
seconds.
seen it. They say she was in charge of one thing, and that was the border.
And exactly. And when we look at immigration, by this time next month, immigration is going to be the #1 issue in this country. It's going to overtake affordability. And on both issues, she's very weak. The question is, will she debate Trump? Is she prepared? And it throws everything up in the air. I don't like to speculate. All I can say is you take away the nomination from her and you cause the Democrats to fall into utter chaos. There will be a war within the Democratic Party. But if you give the nomination to her, there are so many donors who don't want her as the nominee because of the last 4 years that I would not want to be a Democratic strategist right now, because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.